Hello, welcome. For the third time this year, I have taken all of my Stray Kids photo cards out of my binder. Again, I need to stop doing this, but I also really need to re-sleeve these cards. I had them all in the Japanese size sleeves, but they need to go into the standard size sleeves because they fit into the pockets better. I had these originally in a different binder where the pockets fit the Japanese sleeves perfectly, but now they fit these perfectly. And they've been bothering me because they've been moving around so much. And I wasn't going to film this, but I feel like I just need to talk right now. So you're not going to miss anything if you don't watch this. But I have a lot of cards. Who knows how many? Not me. I feel like I should start off by saying Chan's not in this video. Of course not. He is in his own binder. He is already sleeved correctly. I don't have to worry about him not being sleeved correctly because I'm just gonna take these out. He has always been sleeved correctly. I've always known what I wanted to do with him. I never knew what I wanted to do with the other members, and I still don't know what I want to do with the other members. I'm still trying to figure that out. But maybe we should just like jump in to the first thing I want to talk about, which is that like, is anyone else just like really stressed out with work lately? I can't tell. Okay, no, that photo card is not damaged. Good. Because I'm really stressed out with work lately. At first, it was just, I've been staying late at work almost every day trying to get projects done because we're just really far behind, and I've just been trying to help, but there's just too much to do and too many distractions and too many things that are getting in our way, and realized, hey, the only people staying were me and one other person. Everybody had a chance to stay. Everybody had a chance to do it, but like not even the managers were staying to help out. And I was like, what am I doing this for? But also like, give me the money at this point. Like if nobody else wants the money, I'll take their money. God, okay, let's go. But I stayed late, I think almost every single day, and I still only like barely got any overtime last week, and that was awful. And I even brought that up to my manager, and she was like, yeah, isn't that awful how like you can work so much and it just doesn't add up? And I'm like, yeah, it does. That is awful. And she was like, yeah. Then she tried to say it happens to her all the time. And I'm like, you are literally on a salary and I am not. You signed up for that. So, not saying it's okay, but like you signed up for that. I did not sign up for that. Legally, they're not doing anything wrong, but just very stressful. Because I swear, I stayed at least like 8 extra hours last week, and I think I'm getting like 3 hours of overtime. So that's super amounts of fun. And then things still aren't done. So we're still getting yelled at every day for things not being done. And then today, we had a visit from the auditor, and I'm a bookkeeper. So I am in charge of like all the money and all of the paperwork, and oh my God, I'm not centered. I'm so sorry. And, but I've only been that for like 2 months-ish, around there. And, I apparently have no idea what I'm doing. It was very stressful for me today because I think I made us fail everything. I don't know officially if we failed. I just don't have high hopes, honestly. And I know everything I did wrong. And I know she was giving me a lot of leeway because she knew I was new, and she knew that all the help I was getting was like on the phone with people. And that's kind of hard to do with such an important and in-depth job, especially when a lot of my tasks are like once a month. And if I've only had like 2 months of practice, probably not going to be perfect at it. So I think I think there are a lot of things I did wrong that she just like, she taught me about it, but she looked away at the same time. which is very lucky because, I mean, she's known me for years in other positions at that job, and she knows that, like, I do a good job. That's the whole reason that I'm there. But, oh my God. Let me tell you everything that went down today, because I almost cried. Like, truly. I was so upset. I'm going through these so fast. But today, one of the things that I have to do once a month is, like, just very in-depth. It takes me all day. The first time I did it alone, it took me 7 hours. And the second time, it took me, like, 4.5. And I don't think it's supposed to take that long. Pretty positive it's not supposed to take that long. But that's just where I'm at right now. And she was like, oh yeah, it takes about like 6 or 7 months to people to like understand. And then she had a bunch of sticky notes of things that I needed to improve on and like do things correctly for things. And I looked at the sticky notes and I was like, you are kidding me. Because there was one section of like so many sticky notes. And I just looked at it and I was like, those are the sticky notes of the last time where the person that I usually go to for help was on vacation. And I trust her. She knows me really well. She knows how to explain things to me. She knows how to teach things to me, especially like over the phone, like we usually have to do. And like, she gets me. Like, she understands how I understand things and how I learn very well. And I'm so appreciative of that. But she was on vacation. And so I'm banning her from going on vacation forever, basically. I had to call this other lady that, I mean, I've never met her before. She seemed really nice on the phone. I think she could tell that I was freaking out because I didn't know the job and I didn't know who to call and I didn't know her. And like, she answered the phone and she kind of sounded a little mean. And then as soon as I explained it, she was like, oh, sweetie, it's fine. You'll be fine. And I was like, okay, well, I just really need help. I asked her all my questions and was like, I know there was a company that I was supposed to like call last time, but I don't remember if this specific company is the one I was supposed to call or if it was a different one. And if you could just like confirm that for me so I can do that really quick. And she was like, no, you don't have to call any companies. I don't know why they would have you do that. And I was like, okay, that's strange, but okay, that's fine. Good. Like, I'll write it down. She was like, write this down, write this like very specific, like couple words down on the thing and just email it and be done. And if they need anything from you, that's it. Like, you're done. That's fine. Tell me why I was supposed to call the company. I was supposed to do more detailed, which I was already going to do more detailed, but she was like, don't put any details. You don't need to. They can figure it out. Like, every single thing that she told me to do was wrong, and everything that I was going to do, but I was just trying to confirm because I just couldn't remember from that last month, because at that point it had been like a month and a half since I had done it last. And I just was so frustrated. And I know the lady today was trying to tell me that it wasn't my fault, that like she knows like I'm really trying hard, but like it obviously wasn't my fault. And I just couldn't believe her because I was lied to by this lady that I have never met. And it just makes me look so bad when I really, really try so hard at my job. And I want to be good at it so bad. And I'm taking it super seriously, but it's not as serious as I'm taking it. But like, I want to be good at it. And the fact that I'm not good at it yet goes against everything that I've ever done in my entire life. But this is, I mean, also very me, that like, how dare I not be perfect at something before I even try it, you know? How dare I not get something in the first 10 seconds of me trying something new? I have struggled with that my whole life, and now it's really, really bothering me. So, life is really hard. I vented to my coworker about it, and she was like, you know, your life actually is really hard, because that's something I say all the time. I'm like, my life is so hard. And like, obviously, my life genuinely is not that hard. But she was like, doctors hate you, and people lie to you at work, and you can't get hired at jobs because of the shoes you wear to interviews. And I'm like, yeah, when you put it like that, people don't like me for absolutely ridiculous reasons. But like, that's also a true story. The amount of interviews I've had where people have like looked at the shoes I was wearing, and like, I typically always wear the same shoes, and I have these like very nice boots that are like my go-to, and they're like fake Chelsea boots. Like, they're very nice. And every single time I wear them to an interview, people look at my shoes and be like, but you're not going to wear that on the job. And I'm like, do people not dress up to your interviews? Like, what do you mean that you're mad that I dressed up? Like, what? Of course I'm not going to wear it. Of course not. One time I interviewed for a position at a hospital, and they were like, well, you can't wear those shoes. And I'm like, we've been in this interview for 5 minutes. Like, you haven't even told me what the job is yet. Like, what do you mean you're yelling at me about my shoes? And then I also read an interview at like a retail store, and they were like, well, you can't wear those shoes. And I'm like, why would I wear these shoes? Am I not supposed to dress up? Am I not, like, oh, are you crazy? Actually, like, are you guys okay? Why are you worrying about my shoes and not if I will be an actual good fit at your business? Look how great Felix looks. Okay. So this is my problem. So I'm just very stressed about work. I'm very stressed that I can't get new jobs. I'm very stressed that people care about my shoes more than they care about my work experience. I'm very stressed that Felix is so cute. What in the world? I love this card so much. This might be my favorite photo card ever. Every time I look at it, I am happy. So. Oh, I should also say, none of the 8 cards in here, I did already sleeve all my 8 cards because I didn't know I was going to be doing this. I just kind of ran out of all of my like Japanese size sleeves, and I was about to buy more, and I was like, well, all of my Stray Kids cards are in Japanese size sleeves, so maybe I can just like switch those up. And I was so right to do that because I have so many cards now, so many sleeves now. And I'm on a buying ban until September 13th when Boy Next Door releases their album in Target. That's when my buying ban is at least paused for a little bit. I'm filming this on the 4th, and I will tell you I'm doing very good. I bought 1 vinyl from a band because it really was limited edition, and I tried to buy it 2 years ago, or not 2 years ago. I tried to buy it a year ago, and then the company they did it through disappeared. Like, just straight up disappeared off the face of the planet, and had to get my money back for that. But they reissued the vinyls, and I really wanted it, so I did buy that. But besides that and gas, I'm doing really good. I do have a shopping addiction, and so that's, if you couldn't tell, it is something I'm trying to stop, which is why my shopping habits for the rest of the year have to be very chilled, because they just have to be. I can't do this, actually. I have other goals, and I am gonna be focusing more on those for the rest of the year instead of photo cards, because I just have to. It's going to be really sad when I don't meet all of my photo card goals that I set at the beginning of the year, because I know there's a ton that I have not finished yet, but I really just have to focus on something else for a little bit. There is one last thing that I wanted to talk about. And honestly, I thought I would have more time, but I guess not. I guess I've done this too fast. But with the whole situation, I honestly don't really want to say his name, but I'm really not talking about his situation in particular. Obviously, with the victim, whatever the truth is the truth, and that is that. I'm not a fan of the group to begin with, so like that in general does not hit the closest to home, because I did not have any sort of bias towards him in particular, but I feel like I should give some backstory for what I'm about to say. I've had a lot of artists that I've looked up to in the past where it's come out to be the same thing. There's an entire genre that I stopped listening to because I felt like there were like allegations and accusations coming out almost every single day. And now I don't listen to anybody from that genre because I just don't trust anybody in that. And that's just my personal choice. I have a lot of friends that still do, and that's totally fine with me because that's up to them. However, whoever they want to support, whether they... I mean, none of my friends support anybody who has done bad things. You know? I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'm not supporting my friends supporting bad people. But I've even had a situation where I listened to somebody for a week straight. I really loved their music. They had their debut album, and I was very, very into it. I very much loved it. And I listened to it for a week straight. That, like, just a week, only a week. And they like shot up my most listened to on Spotify. They are very high up on the list. I think the highest song is like number 26 of my most listened to songs of all time. And I have them blocked on Spotify. I have them blocked on all socials. There were accusations, allegations, whatever that came out. I don't even know if anything's even been proven at this point. It's literally been almost 10 years at this point that I first found out about any of it. But I immediately blocked this person. Immediately. And like, there's something, I know a lot of people have been talking about, like, there's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of beating yourself up because, like, how didn't you know? How didn't you know? How dare you like somebody in general? But, like, there's nothing wrong with, like, giving somebody love, even if they turn out to be a bad person or, like, the wrong person in the end. There's no such thing as giving love to the wrong person if in the moment you had good intentions. Asterisk. Your action of giving love to somebody else does not take away from, like, you being a good person. The fact that they turned out to be a person that you don't want to support, that you don't want to be associated with, has nothing to do with the fact that you gave them love. They made that decision on their own. And that's on them. It's a good thing, in my opinion, obviously, in my opinion. Because again, this has happened to me so many times. Kind of an insane amount of times. And I've been having a lot of flashbacks since everything was announced. And even as somebody who isn't attached to him in general, like as a person, remembering the times where I was attached to somebody and was very, like, I don't know how to say this without it sounding bad, but like was very almost like, I put them on a pedestal, which is a very like parasocial thing to do. And was like, oh, they'll never do anything wrong. They'll never do anything bad. And then, you know, they did. My situations were so much tamer than this. But there's a type of guilt when you realize maybe I shouldn't have given them everything that I gave them. And even in my personal relationships, that's happened too. Why did somebody get mad at me for rumors that their friends started about me? I don't know. But like, I'll never talk to that person again. And I don't know if that person will ever understand why I'm not talking to them again. because recent things, which also happened in the past like 2 weeks, recent happenings shows that they will never understand, and that is just how it is. I don't know how I'm gonna make this to be like coherent. I feel like the main thing that I've been trying to say is that all in all, grief is real, and the fact that you have the ability to grieve this, like the experiences you've had where this person was included, is very real. I feel like grief is like my number 3 topic that I talk about. Like my number 1 is words, just in general. I love people I love words. I can't speak them, but I love words in general. Always have, always will. I love music in general. Music is number 2. It's words, music, and then like grief has been like my number 3 like most talked about topic in like the past 10 years. So that's that. But I mean, people grieving the fact that you thought that you knew the character of somebody is not a bad thing. My main thing is that grief happens in small doses every single day. Even when like you misplace your phone or like the pen you were just using 10 seconds ago. And sometimes it happens in big things. Most people just know about grief when it refers to somebody passing away. But like grieving the loss of who you thought somebody was is also incredibly, incredibly difficult and incredibly painful to have to do. And like, please like give yourself grace and give other people grace in this time if it's something that like this is really hurting you, because that's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not good that it's hurting you in general, but it's not necessarily a bad thing that you feel so awful about it because you feel bad that you gave love to somebody who in the end might not have deserved it in the way that you wish that they had. I don't know if I phrased that correctly, but like you gave love to somebody and they misused that kindness. They didn't appreciate the kindness that you gave them for that moments, years, sometimes it's a lifetime of love that you give to somebody and they come back and then they're just awful about it. And you never knew. I think I was interrupted in possibly the worst possible time and topic, but it's a couple hours later and I'm going to continue. Don't remember exactly where I left off or what sentence I left off at, but basically what I was trying to get at was that there's a lot of people grieving right now, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with grief. There's nothing wrong with the fact that you or somebody else I have some other cards as well. Non-Stray Kids cards. There's nothing wrong with the fact that you or somebody else gave kindness and trust to somebody and they threw it back in your face. Whether it's like a celebrity like this or like a friend, somebody you know, somebody you don't know. Personally, I don't think that that's anybody's fault. There's nothing wrong with trusting people. And I know a lot of people are very nervous about, well, I can't trust anyone ever again anymore. If you feel like you can't trust anybody ever again, that's up to you. But that's also a very difficult way to live, because at the end of the day, it wasn't because of you that your trust was misused in any way. It's 100% on the other person. And there's a lot of grief that taking that into consideration and heart is a part of grief. getting to the acceptance spat that, like, if you personally didn't do anything wrong, then you don't need to feel guilty for trusting somebody to do the right thing, even if they didn't do the right thing at the end, because it's very lonely to not trust people. It's very lonely to never give anybody that trust and honesty and love. And you should not ever feel like you're to blame for somebody else doing something awful, or even just like a little bit bad in any way. And again, that's whether it's your friends, family, a stranger on the internet, or like your favorite person, favorite like musician, actor in the entire world. What they do has nothing to do with you in the end. As long as you know deep down that you did the right thing and gave them the respect that you felt that they deserved in the moment. What you do in the future is completely up to you after that. Like I said, there's people that I will never listen to their music again. There's people I will never talk to again because they wronged me in a way that I felt was too far. And like, that's up to me. That's not up to them. I think I just linked all of these wrong. That's up to me. That's not up to them. And that's my decision because they made their decision already. So whatever decision you make after that, whatever decision other people make after that, is their decision. We also can't police people and their decisions and how they go about it. Whether people are talking about what's going on, whether people aren't talking about what's going on. It's very personal to everybody in their own ways. And obviously some people made me so angry that I had to get off the internet for literally 3 days straight afterwards. So, but I also have to realize that I feel like I have a lot better understanding of grief than most people, and that is part of it. And if it made me somebody who can be very understanding of how people act when they are grieving, and somebody like, I really take my time to notice and try to like pinpoint in my head where people are in a grieving thing, because I'm, like I said, everybody grieves every single day, whether or not people want to believe it or not. Grief is about loss. Grief is not about death. That's something I've said for years because somebody made me so mad like 9 years ago. I started saying that 9 years ago because people were trying to push their grief on other people in ways that didn't make me happy and were honestly very, very mean. And the second that that connection happened for me, the entire world kind of opened up for me personally. And I've been able to use that for everything and kind of just understand people better. But if people are making me so mad on the internet because they're just being so awful to people who did have the amount of love that, and maybe gave it to somebody who ended up not being deserving of it, or who they decided is not deserving of it. Obviously, in this case, it's personally, I think it's very cut and dry, right and wrong. And that's kind of that. I'm never going to talk about this ever again, honestly, because again, I am not a fan. So I feel like I'm only observing this and understanding this secondhand as somebody who has experienced all of this in the past. I'm not experiencing it in this moment. It was bad enough experiencing it secondhand without it being somebody that I really looked up to in the past to begin with. And so I just want to give that amount of grace to people who are really struggling with this, wherever you are in your grieving process, because you could be anywhere, and you deserve grace from other people, and you deserve grace from yourself, because this is always going to be a hard situation, no matter how cut and dry it is. And I'm trying not to make it sound like I'm like accepting of anything that went down, and accepting of anybody who is still being accepting of any of this, because I'm not. Just in general. It's not, I feel like I don't have the words anymore. Like, it's not good. And that's like the worst word I could possibly say, but that's all I have right now. But just know, like, if you are grieving in any way over any of this, if it brought up anything from the past, if it brought up any fears, being a woman who loves music, unfortunately, like I've said multiple times in this video, it has happened to these types of situations have happened to me a lot over the last, even like just 10 years. It's happened a lot. And unfortunately, it will never stop. So it will keep happening. People will keep, this will never end. And I just really feel for people who are experiencing this for the first time, because it's hard enough experiencing it after 10 years of experiencing it over and over and over again. And I do remember the first time that like I ever had to experience it. And yeah, so grace for everybody. Grieving time, realize that your love was not wasted in general. Your trust was not wasted, because you had that inside of you to begin with, and you giving out good things is never going to be bad just because somebody else misused the good in you. So just a reminder, I have been done doing this for so long, and I really should go. I feel like I very much overshared and overtalked, and I hope this is a very short video or a very long one. Whichever one makes it so that not a lot of people watch this, because I don't know if I'm expressing myself the way that I want to express myself, but also like I'm not going to bring this up in any other video. So I did want to just get my full thoughts out there so that I don't feel the urge to bring it up again and again and again, because that is not helpful either. My outro feels so dumb after this whole conversation. Being stressed at work, and like, let yourself grieve. It's fine. It's okay. Look at these cuties. If you're feeling up to it, because I know that it's very, very hard. If you're feeling up to it, remember, give yourself grace, give other people grace, other people space, time to understand everything that's going on, because this is always going to be a difficult situation. It's always going to be a hard thing to swallow, hard pill to swallow, and it never gets easier for anyone, no matter your age. It just never gets easier. But thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself. Do what you need to do. If you need to step back forever, do it. I've done that. If you need to step back for a week, do it. I've done that. If you need to block them everywhere, do it. I've done that. I will say though, they might show up forever, and they might be on your most listened to for the rest of your life. And you will be reminded every single time you look at that list. Been there, done that. I'm almost to the point where I want to like beg Spotify to scrub them from my history forever, because I don't want to see their name ever again. And again, that's something that happened 10 years ago, and it's still in my face. So thank you so much for watching. I've said that 3 times already. I'm so sorry. I hope you have a great day, great night, great life, great everything, and things start looking up, or getting even better than they already are. Wherever you are in life, I hope things are better in the future, because we can all use more happiness or something like that, probably. I'm so sorry. I will see you soon, and that is a promise. Bye.